They need to get stops on defense, bro. Because once again, they gave up over 100 points and lost. This is the second time they gave up over 100 points and lost the game. Something just has to be done.
Yeah, I think shots did start falling. I think we've been letting that dictate how well we play defense too much, which is disappointing for us as a group. You know, we got to be able to defend all the time. So I think that's our biggest area of growth is everyone wants to go over when they're making shots.
The Indiana Fever find themselves in serious trouble this season. Falling behind repeatedly and failing to hold leads has become a pattern. And the rebounding situation remains a genuine concern. Having Aaliyah Boston operating on the perimeter instead of near the basket reflects poorly on lineup decisions, and the question of why Dantas received a contract extension continues to hang in the air. The pressure on head coach Stephanie White is mounting rapidly, with today being the 15th of the month, a home loss in the next game. What separates the current situation from the Christie side's era is that things have actually gotten worse, not better.
And for us, that's our biggest room for improvement right now is when things aren't going well, we still got to be able to defend and, find ways to get stops. And we haven't done that very well to this point, same way it was with our opening game. So opportunity for us to improve in that area.
Caitlin, how would you describe what you were feeling in that fourth quarter and just seeing the ball go through the hoop from distance for the first time really this season?
Yeah, I felt like I could have made another 5. They're all right there.
The Fever have given up more than 100 points and lost on 2 separate occasions now, and no amount of comeback effort changes the fact that stops are simply not being made on the defensive end. Caitlin
Clark addressed the media following the defeat and acknowledged the core problem directly. She noted that the team has been allowing offensive struggles to bleed into their defensive effort, which she
called the biggest area that needs improvement. Getting stops has to happen, regardless of whether shots are falling. That discipline has been absent through the early portion of the season, just as it was in the opening game. Kelly Kramer also spoke, noting that she felt capable of making several more baskets given how available the looks were. The team shot 40% from the field overall, which speaks to shot quality not being the main issue. The main issue sits on the other end of the floor.
There, and obviously it was great to break through and get someone to go down. So, we're getting great looks. We still shot 40% from the field, but
granted, they are getting decent looks, but we have to get this defensive thing fixed, bro. They're not even going to make it to the playoffs if they don't fix this defense. Could you imagine Kayla Clark not making it to the playoffs? Do you know what the headlines would be? Do we not remember, what they did to Angel Reese? They just annihilated her for not making it to the playoffs.
Mo Williams emphasized the next woman up mentality following Aaliyah Boston's exit. Late in the third quarter, the bench made contributions, and the overall effort to fight back was acknowledged. But the result still went the wrong way. Monique Billings finished with 10 points and 9 rebounds in 36 minutes. For a player operating as the backup big, those numbers fall short of what the position demands. Aaliyah Boston at that spot would likely have delivered somewhere in the range of 13 to 15 boards on a night like this. Clark also weighed in on the second quarter struggles, pointing to foul trouble as the main culprit.
Into the playoffs. That's how bad this is getting with this defense.
We missed way too many bunnies around the rim. We talked about it at halftime. Probably should talk about it after the game, but should never shoot 39% from the field and 40% from three. At the end of the day, it's gonna be really hard to win basketball games. But we still scored 102 points, so it all comes back to our defense and the way we're able to defend. But hey, we fought through the fourth quarter. We clawed back. I thought we were going to be able to get them in overtime, and honestly, more than anything, shout out to our fans. Fans were amazing.
Washington shot 8 free throws in that stretch and converted them all, nearly matching the Fever's entire scoring output for the quarter. Playing in transition at pace becomes nearly impossible When the game slows to a foul-heavy crawl, the Washington Mystics put up 58 points in the paint, including in overtime, which tells the full story. Clark was direct. 7 of 17 from 3 is acceptable, but 3 clunky quarters forced the team into desperation basketball. That style of play has to stop. Stephanie White, for her part, took accountability.
They're a huge reason why we were able to get back in this game, but yeah, it was definitely nice to see some go in, which would have helped us with W a little bit more.
Yeah, Mo, with Aaliyah going out at the end of the third quarter and then not returning, how does that change the game for you? And then also kind of just for Maisha with having to play all those minutes through the fourth and overtime?
Yeah, I think the mentality is just next woman up, just staying ready when your number's called. We wanted to get that one for AB, so that's disappointing that we didn't. But I think our bench.
She pointed to defensive breakdowns, in coverages, players fouling shooters on difficult attempts, and a team that only brings energy on defense. When the offense is clicking, she was clear that the energy has to originate from the defensive end, not the other way around. On the late-game execution, she credited assistant Austin for drawing up plays that create quality looks. Though she acknowledged the team has been leaning on those sets far too heavily, on managing the emotional swings at the end of regulation, White said the focus was on getting the group back together, and reminding them that momentum had shifted. When Caitlin Clark tied the game, the message was straightforward. New life means nothing unless it gets converted. The response, however, has been widely seen as insufficient.
Our bench did a really great job. Whoever came in the game did their best to make a contribution.
And Monique
How tough
Billings.
is it for you mentally to kind of?
Monique Billings not even all that. I'm sorry, bro. Like she ain't. To me. Like how many points did she have tonight? Let's see. How did Monique Billings do? Where's the box score at? Let me see here. Because I believe she's the backup big, bro. Monique Billings, 10 points. Monique Billings.
The defensive problems are not new, and the explanations offered have begun to feel like excuses rather than solutions. If the Fever drop another home game, the calls for White's removal will become
impossible to dismiss. Tonight's matchup between Caitlin Clark and the Washington Mystics carries a different kind of energy. This is the sort of contest that pulls out a completely different version of
Clark, the one that plays with a sharp edge and zero mercy. The Caitlin Clark who shows up in rivalry games is a separate animal altogether. Take Jazzy Sheldon, for example.
Monique Billings had 10 points, 9 rebounds. 9 rebounds, bro. She was 1 of 2 from the 3, 4 of 11 from the field, bro. I guess she ain't do that bad, but in 36 minutes played total, she should have had more points than this, and she should have had, I would say 13 to 15 rebounds. Like, that's what we would have got out of Aaliyah Boston. But it is what it is, man. Let's finish listening.
The moment Sheldon steps onto the opposite end of the floor, Clark locks in on that matchup above everything else. Doesn't matter who else is guarding her, doesn't matter the stakes. That specific battle brings out something relentless in her game. But Sheldon isn't the only familiar face in this contest. Returning from injury is Courtney McMahon, formerly of Ohio State, a physically gifted player who isn't known for her shooting, but was a key piece of those Buckeye squads that had a very real, very mutual dislike for Iowa. The animosity wasn't just competitive noise. It ran deep.
Listening.
Grind through those first 3 quarters and you're struggling and still keep chucking away to be ready for that fourth quarter.
That's like the hardest thing as a basketball player is when you're not making shots to really stay in it. So I was certainly proud of myself. Really, really battled. And a lot of those shots are very, very makeable. And I finished really well around the rim and 2-point area to start the season. Today I didn't finish well in the 2-point area. Like obviously 7 for 17 from 3. Obviously I got a lot up with how the game was played out. But happy with the way I shot from 3. From 2 I need to focus around.
There's a well-known moment where Clark, after a win over Ohio State, grabbed one of their team shirts and posted a photo wearing it. That kind of move doesn't come from a player who's
indifferent.
That's someone who knows exactly what she's doing. Then there's Georgia Amoore, who will be matching up with Clark at the point guard position. The two were reportedly close at one point, but something shifted.
This is what she wants. She cares more about that matchup than any other matchup. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, this is a big game. But everybody's talking about JC Sheldon. You don't know who the other player on that team was. The other player on that team, that on the Ohio State team, that hated Iowa, and Iowa hated them. You can't see her in these stats here, but coming back from
There's social media evidence, whether fully verified or not, suggesting Amoore engaged with posts that were critical of Clark, and Clark subsequently unfollowed her. Whatever the the
public record shows a clear disconnect between them, and the last time Amoore was tasked with containing Clark, Clark walked away with 44 points. That numbers speaks for itself. All of this sets up a game
where Clark has real motivation on multiple fronts.
in these stats here, but coming back from injury is Cody McMahon. Cody McMahon, a supremely talented non-shooter who played at Ohio State and was part of the lineups that basically used to go out of their way
Against certain opponents, she doesn't just compete. She takes over. She becomes aggressive from the opening possession and stays that way, regardless of how the early minutes go. Even in games where her shot isn't falling through the first 3 quarters, there's an understanding that she won't go passive when the game tightens up. The pinpoints, the drive, the pull-up, those weapons stay loaded the whole time. Aaliyah Boston is expected to look much sharper than in recent outings, operating closer to the level people anticipated when the season began.
used to go out of their way and just they hate each other. They actually hate each other. There was Caitlin Clark stole. They all wore T-shirts playing as Iowa, and Iowa beat them. And Caitlin Clark stole one of their T-shirts and posed wearing the T-shirt for social media. That version of Caitlin Clark has only shows up a few times now, but like there is a demon in Caitlin Clark. Not only that, who is matching up opposite her at point guard?
But Washington isn't simply going to fold. The Mystics have Cass Prosper, and they have McMahon, and at some point in this game, McMahon is almost certainly going to run directly through Clark on an offensive play. It fits the pattern. It fits the history. Anyone expecting that not to happen hasn't been paying attention to what these two programs carried into the professional level.
Georgia Amoore. Look, I don't know how true this is. I do not know how true this is. But there has been stuff. I don't know if these screenshots are real or fake. But if you know anything, Georgia Amoore and Caitlin, as far as we can see publicly, we're very close at one stage.
The last time Clark went up against a team she had genuine competitive history with, Connecticut, the prior season, she wasn't even sharp for long stretches. Still, when the fourth quarter arrived and the margin was tight, she found a way to decide the outcome. That capacity to flip a switch when a game is on the line is what separates her from players who only show up when everything is already going their way. Tonight has all the ingredients for that version of Clark to surface early and stay present. The rivalries are real. The motivation is layered, and the opponent has enough history with her to make the whole thing personal.
And obviously, there is a like something happened, ended up unfollowing each other. But Georgia Amore started allegedly liked a lot of the Antonio Brown tweets, and that's all I'm going to see. That's all I'm going to see, as well as the fact that it could have been an accidental like, but somebody reposted Caitlin Clark liking a tweet of somebody calling out Georgia Amore for reposting shit about Caitlin Clark. Again, I don't know. This could all be fake screenshots, but they did go and immediately unfollow each other. Like, Caitlin immediately unfollowed Georgia Amore after that. And it's one of those things where this could be a hell of a matchup. Yeah, and again, even if the story is not a hell of a matchup, even if the story is not real, there has to be a reason. There has to be some background reason of them going out of their way to unfollow each other. And heck, in their last matchup, Caitlin Clark did have 44 points. The last time Georgia Amore tried to guard Caitlin Clark, she had 44 points. So, yeah, there is one of those things. But yeah, overall, this is now one of these games where I think we're going to see Caitlin Clark want to win this game. I think we're going to see Caitlin really want to win this game. I think we're going to see Caitlin going out of her way to just take over this game. Like, genuinely take over this game. And I just don't see a scenario where Caitlin is passive here.